Hello fans, I am Sheikh Hamdan Fazza. This is my YouTube channel. Subscribe the channel, watch and share video. Thank you.
The girl asked me if I was married, and for a moment the world grew still around us, as if every breath waited for my answer. Her voice was soft, but it carried 1,000 meanings. A question wrapped in curiosity, in hesitation, in a quiet tremble of hope she tried to hide. I looked at her, at the innocence in her eyes, at the gentle way she held her hands together, as though she feared the answer might change something in her heart. The air grew warm between us, heavy with a sweetness I couldn't name, and I felt the earth shift inside me. The girl asked me if I was married, and memories rose like old dust shaken from forgotten shelves, of past promises that broke, of nights I walked alone under empty skies, of dreams that faded like smoke between my fingers. I felt them all. Those stories I no longer told. Those scars I no longer touched. But her question was not about my past. Her question was about my today, and perhaps about her tomorrow. I swallowed the silence between us, watching the sun settle softly on her hair, turning each strand into gold. She didn't push me. She didn't rush. She simply waited, as though my answer mattered more to her than she dared to admit. How do you answer a question like that? When your heart begins to beat differently, the moment her eyes meet yours, how do you speak? When your tongue forgets the language of caution and your chest feels warm, as if someone lit a candle behind your ribs, I breathed in slowly, feeling the weight of my own heartbeat. No, I whispered finally, my voice softer than I expected, yet stronger than it had been in years. I'm not married. And something changed in her smile. Not large, not loud, but a tiny flicker of light, shy yet unmistakable, like a secret opening its wings. She looked away for a moment, perhaps to hide that she was blushing, perhaps to protect the sudden glow blooming on her cheeks. But I saw it. I felt it. It washed over me like warm rain. The girl asked me if I was married, and without knowing it, she opened a door in me I thought had rusted shut forever, a door to tenderness, to longing, to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, life had kept something beautiful for me after all. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, a simple gesture, but in that moment, it felt like the world's most delicate movement. I watched her fingers shake just slightly, as though my answer had sent a small earthquake through her heart. I see, she murmured, trying to keep her voice steady, but the softness gave her away. Her eyelashes fluttered, her breath trembled, and the distance between us felt suddenly too small for all the emotions rising. I wanted to ask her why she asked. I wanted to ask what she hoped, but something told me she wasn't ready to reveal the storm she carried inside, so I didn't push. I simply watched her, beautiful, gentle, hesitant, and felt my heart turn toward her, like a flower turning toward dawn. She glanced at me again, this time with courage blooming slowly in her eyes. There was a question behind her smile, a story waiting to be told, a confession hiding beneath her breath. But she held it back, like someone holding a fragile bird, too afraid to open their hands. The girl asked me if I was married, and unknowingly, she rewrote my day, my thoughts, my heartbeat. Her words echoed inside me, soft but powerful, like footsteps walking gently across my soul. And I wondered, was she asking for herself? Was she asking because my presence touched her heart? Was she asking because she had silently imagined something? A future, a moment, a feeling that she didn't dare name. I felt warmth spread through me, a warmth I hadn't felt in a long time, a warmth that whispered, maybe this is the beginning of something. Maybe love doesn't arrive with thunder. Maybe it arrives with a shy question, spoken by a girl who doesn't know she's holding your heart in her trembling hands. Her question lingered in the air, long after I answered it, like the fading notes of a melody that refuses to disappear. She didn't speak again right away, perhaps afraid of what might follow, perhaps unsure if she had already revealed too much. I watched her breathe, slow and careful, as if she were learning how to exist in this new space between us. Her hands brushed lightly against each other, her fingers tracing small, invisible shapes, while she tried to steady her heart. The quiet around us felt gentle, a kind of silence that didn't hurt, that didn't demand, but simply allowed us both to feel. And I felt everything. The softness of her gaze, the shy tilt of her head, the warmth rising in my chest, as though her question had lit a small fire inside me. She finally looked up, eyes wide with something she tried to hide, a mixture of hope and uncertainty, like someone waiting for a door to open, but afraid of what lies behind it. Her lips parted slightly, as though another question wished to escape, but she hesitated, biting down gently on her lower lip, in a way that made my heart tighten. "You're really not married?" she whispered, as if she feared I might change my answer. Her voice trembled ever so softly, like a leaf caught in a mild breeze, and I couldn't help but smile. "No," I said again, because she seemed to need the reassurance. "Not married, not engaged, not promised to anyone." She blinked slowly, and I watched relief soften her shoulders. It was as if a weight she had been carrying quietly melted away. Her breath escaped in a small, quiet sigh, a sigh that spoke more than 1,000 words. For a moment, she didn't know where to look. Her eyes wandered to the ground, to the fading light, to the gentle sway of her own dress, to anywhere that wasn't my face. But then, as if bravery touched her heart, she lifted her gaze again and met my eyes directly. There was something new in the way she looked at me. Not curiosity, not politeness, but something deeper, something warm, something that made the world brighten around her. "Good," she said softly, almost too softly, as though she wasn't sure she had the right to say it. But her honesty slipped through the cracks of her restraint, and her cheeks flushed a delicate shade of pink that made the moment feel unbearably tender. I shifted slightly, trying to calm the sudden racing of my own heart. I didn't expect her words to affect me this much. I didn't expect to feel as though my soul had been touched by a single fragile syllable. "Good?" I repeated gently, searching her expression. She nodded once, a small shy motion, like a petal falling in slow motion. "It's just that—" She paused, gathering the courage to continue, her fingers curled inward, her voice shrinking to a whisper. But her eyes glowed with truth. "It's just that I like knowing that." Her confession was quiet, but it struck me with the force of a storm. I felt something shift in the air. In the sky above us, in my heartbeat, it was as if the universe leaned closer, eager to hear the rest. She looked away instantly, embarrassed by what she had let slip. The tips of her ears turned red, her eyelashes lowering like small trembling curtains. She didn't want me to see how vulnerable her words had made her, but I saw. I felt, and a part of me broke open, the part that had forgotten. How sweet it felt to be wanted in silence before being wanted in words. I stepped closer, just slightly, just enough for her to feel my presence. The wind shifted, carrying her scent, soft, feminine, comforting, a scent that wrapped around me like an embrace I hadn't expected. "You like knowing that I'm not married?" I asked gently, careful not to push her, careful not to break the fragile beauty of the moment. Her shoulders rose in a small, nervous breath, and she nodded again, so delicately that the movement almost broke my heart. "That means something," I whispered, more to myself than to her. She heard me anyway. Her eyes flickered with emotion, her lips parting slightly, as though she wanted to ask what it meant. But she didn't. She wasn't ready. I could see it in the way her hands trembled, in the way she hugged her own arms lightly, as if trying to hide a secret she wasn't yet brave enough to reveal. Still, something connected between us, silent but undeniable. A thread of feeling, growing stronger with every breath we shared. The girl asked me if I was married, and her question had become the beginning of a story I never saw coming. A story written softly in her eyes, a story growing in the quiet place, between our hearts. The sky above us shifted, as though it too felt the change inside the moment. The clouds thinning, the light softening, the world settling into a quieter heartbeat. Her confession still echoed between us, gentle yet powerful, like a ripple spreading across still water. She tucked her hair behind her ear again, a gesture I had begun to recognize as her way of hiding her shyness. Her fingers trembled slightly, her breath unsteady, as though she feared she had revealed too much. And I wanted to tell her that she hadn't, that her honesty felt like a gift, wrapped in softness, and handed straight to my heart. But I didn't rush. I didn't break the fragile beauty of the moment. Instead, I let the silence breathe, let it bloom between us, like a flower opening slowly, petal by delicate petal. She finally spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. I wanted to know. That's all. But even as she said it, her eyes betrayed her. They carried 1,000 unspoken reasons, 1,000 quiet wishes. She didn't dare bring into the light. Only that? I asked softly, my voice warm, inviting her heart to rest, instead of run away. Her gaze flickered, searching my face as if looking for safety, in the curve of my smile or the steadiness of my eyes. For a long moment, she didn't answer. She pressed her lips together, looked down, looked away, looked anywhere but at me, because sometimes the truth is too tender to look at directly. And when she finally spoke, her words emerged like a shy bird, learning to fly. Maybe not only that, the world stilled. Her voice cracked faintly on the last word, a hint of vulnerability that made my heart ache in the sweetest way. I could see she was fighting a quiet war inside, the war between wanting to express what she felt and fearing what her own honesty might create. "You can tell me," I said gently, my tone soft enough to cradle her trembling heart. She shook her head lightly, but not to refuse, only because she wasn't ready yet, because her emotions were still learning their language. "I'm not very good at saying things," she whispered. Her eyes shone with a fragile truth that made the evening glow around her. "I get scared that I'll say something wrong." I stepped closer, my voice steady in the growing warmth between us. "You don't have to be perfect," I told her. "Just honest." Her breath hitched, a soft, fluttering sound that felt like a heartbeat spoken aloud. She looked up at me again, and in her eyes, I saw a reflection of something I hadn't expected to feel so soon, a connection forming, one quiet moment at a time. The wind brushed past us gently, lifting the edges of her dress, carrying the delicate scent of jasmine petals from somewhere unseen. Her hair moved with the breeze, soft and untamed, a halo of warmth around her uncertain smile. I asked because she paused, her hands pressing together, her fingers twisting slightly, a dance of nerves she couldn't hide. "I wanted to know if there was space in your life, if you were free." Her words struck deep, not loud, not dramatic, but soft in a way that reached the most hidden parts of me. A warmth rose through my chest, slow and steady, like a sunrise spreading across the horizon. "Free for what?" I whispered. She swallowed, her throat tightening around her next breath, her lashes lowered, her cheeks warmed, her courage flickered like a candle, protected by cupped hands. "Free for someone." The simplicity of her answer held a universe of meaning. The sky dimmed into a deeper shade of gold, as if the sun bowed to the tenderness of her confession. Her eyes didn't meet mine right away. She was afraid of the truth she had spoken, without meaning to speak it so clearly. For a moment, I let her breathe, let her settle into the softness of her own words. Then I moved closer still, just enough for her to feel, the warmth radiating from me to her. She felt it. I saw it in the way her shoulders loosened, in the way her heartbeat visibly slowed, beneath the rise and fall of her chest. "What if I told you," I murmured, "that there is space in my life? That there has been space for a long time, waiting for someone gentle, someone honest, someone exactly like you?" Her breath caught a small sound, pure and delicate, almost like a spark breaking open. Her eyes lifted to mine, and in them I saw hope blooming like dawn. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. Her silence was full of longing, full of emotion, full of a story beginning, without either of us planning it. The girl asked me if I was married, but by now, it was clear that the question she truly wanted to ask was much deeper, much softer, much braver, and her heart, trembling but hopeful, was beginning to whisper the answer. She stood there, caught between fear and hope, between wanting to open her heart and wanting to protect it. Her fingers brushed the hem of her sleeve, a quiet gesture of uncertainty, as though her hands tried to hold what her voice could not say. The evening deepened around us, the sky slowly trading its gold for soft blue, and the first stars appearing. Like shy witnesses to the moment unfolding, the air felt warm, almost gentle, as if the world itself wanted to soften the weight of her emotions. I watched her, the slight tremble in her breath, the way she looked anywhere but at me, the quiet beauty of a heart, trying to find the courage to speak. Every second added new meaning to the silence between us. Every glance from her was a confession she wasn't ready to say aloud. When she finally looked up, her eyes shimmered with unspoken wonder. Not bold, not demanding, but soft like moonlight, caught on quiet water. "Can I ask you something else?" she whispered. Her voice carried the weight of a question that had been waiting behind her ribs, soft but persistent, like a heartbeat asking to be heard. "You can ask me anything," I said, my tone gentle, careful, hoping she could feel the safety in my words. She took a slow breath, as if gathering pieces of herself from every corner of her courage. Her eyes lowered again, her lashes brushing her cheeks like fragile strokes of emotion. "When you answered me earlier," she said softly, "when you told me you're not married, did you say it calmly? Because it didn't matter to you? Or—" She hesitated, her voice faltering, under the weight of her own vulnerability. "Or did you say it softly? Because you knew it mattered to me?" Her question wrapped around my heart, like a warm hand, unexpected and tender. I stepped closer, the distance between us shrinking, like a secret being shared. "I said it softly," I murmured. "Because your question mattered to me." She inhaled sharply, a tiny breath of surprise, a breath filled with emotions she hadn't prepared for. Her lips parted, as if to speak, but no words came. The truth had touched her, in a place too deep for quick answers. "I thought maybe—" Her words trembled. "I thought maybe it mattered to you?" Only as an answer. Not as something connected to me." "It mattered," I said, my voice steady and warm. "Because it came from you." Her eyes lifted, slowly, as if her heart needed time to catch up with her courage. And when she finally met my gaze, I saw something transform, a light blooming behind her shyness, a spark finding its flame. "But why?" she whispered, almost too softly to hear. Her confusion wasn't doubt. It was wonder, the fragile kind, that comes only when someone begins to hope for something they never expected to find. "Why does it matter to you? That I care?" I let her question sink into my heart, let it echo through every memory of loneliness, every night of quiet longing, every moment I wished someone would ask me. Not just who I am, but what I feel. "Because," I said gently, "someone caring about me, someone like you caring, it means something. It awakens something in me I thought had fallen asleep forever." Her breath stilled. She didn't move, didn't blink, as though my words reached into the deepest part of her. "Something like what?" she asked, her voice breaking softly, like a fragile shell cracking open, to reveal something glowing inside. "Something like wanting," I said. "Something like longing. Something like the beginning of a feeling I don't yet know how to name." A flush rose to her cheeks, delicate and warm, spreading like dawn across her gentle features. Her fingers curled inward, not nervously this time, but softly, as though holding a feeling she didn't want to drop. She stepped closer, barely an inch, but enough for my heart to feel the shift in the air. Her presence grew warmer, more certain, like the first step toward something neither of us could deny anymore. "When I asked you," she whispered, her voice trembling with honesty, "I was scared you'd say yes. I was scared your life already belonged to someone else. I was scared that there'd be no place for me." Her confession pierced me with a gentle, aching sweetness. I reached out slowly, carefully, my hand hovering close to hers, but not touching, offering her the choice to close the distance if she wanted to. "There is place for you," I whispered, "in my life, in my heart. More than you know." Her eyes shined, not with tears, but with something deeper, something that glowed from within. "The girl asked me if I was married." But now, in this moment, that question felt like the spark that had ignited a story neither of us expected, a story just beginning to unfold, in the warmth of her hope and the quiet awakening of my heart.